Ladies and gentlemen, Hex community of all ages, hey, Jake Freedom here, coming to you live from YouTube for yet another deck tech. Actually, probably be the first deck tech in quite some time. As I mentioned before in some past Hex update Saturdays, that I would be doing deck techs again once things kind of settle down as far as, you know, life. So let's go over the deck that I played in the Sapphire Cup and the ESL tournament and got wrecked with. So here's what I was playing. So we basically do have 9 wilds, 6 rubies, 6 sapphires, and 4 shards of fate. I didn't mind the resources. I don't mind the shards of fate. Granted, it doesn't give you a charge, but I wanted the flexibility to have one card to be able to select any one of the 3 resources that I wanted. Didn't want to be locked into 2. I could have probably ran something else like Immortal Teals, but that just costs too much and whatever. So I'm like, Shards of Fate's fine. I don't care if it doesn't give me a charge. I'm not banking on charges anyway. So then we have 4 burns. We have 4 arcane focuses. We have 2 senseis for some card draw. Arcane focus has some card draw. Verdict of the Ancient Kings for some, you know, control. Oracle Song for card draw. Periwinkle. Excavation Bot. Azure Fate Sorceress. And this is not the only mistake that I made in the deck. There's quite a few after playing. So in here we got the major ruby gem of destruction, and then we also have the spell shield gem. Not the way to go there. And then we have 5 Droo's Colossal Walkers, and we have 3 Subterranean Spies. So the idea behind this deck was to get out the sorceress, and then have the excavation bots, you know, come into play after being tunneled, you know, to be able to deal damage. Since they're underground, they would be, you know, immune to any type of removal. Droo's Colossal Walker. This was these 2 cards together here really were the deck. That was my thought anyway. And Subterranean Spy, even though he's a tunneling troop, he was just there to be able to see what I have in my opponent's hand. Now, this thing, when I originally started, it had more tunneling troops, which is why it's called Tunnel Kill. But it just, I changed it to, you know, different iterations, and, you know, I'm just like, it just felt, it worked when it worked, but when it didn't work, it failed miserably. And basically it's because I mentioned in my last Hex update Saturday, I was like, I think I'm trying to do too much with the deck. And in fact I am. I'm trying to do way too much. And I just need to focus on, you know, narrow the focus of the deck. And basically the too much was running wild, trying to protect her and all the other troops that come out after her with Spell Shield. That was probably the biggest mistake of the actual deck. So that was my thought. I'm like, well, I'm just going to get all these other troops that come out that are going to have Spell Shield. They're not going to be able to be removed by direct spells or, you know, direct damage. They have to be like some type of board clear. So we're talking, you know, Purge or Extinction, Heat Wave, you know, whatever, you know, wasn't direct damage. I'm like, oh, so we should be pretty good. It turned out that it wasn't that great. And here is the main reason why. When you played her, I'd have to play her on my turn. In order to protect her, I'd have to at least have 6 resources, or 5, and have the champion ready to rock and roll. So, and I'd have to have a Verdict of the Ancient Kings in play to be able to protect her if something was trying to get rid of her. That is only if I did not have 2 wild resources, because the 2 wild resources obviously gave her Spell Shield. If she had Spell Shield, she was fine by direct card damage, or, you know, direct removal of some sort, or bounce spells or whatever. But if he didn't have that, or if a mass board clear was going to come along, I had to be able to do something to stop that. So it needed at least 6 resources to even be able to do anything with it. Then you had to wait a whole turn. You just wait a whole turn in order to do that. That didn't work too well. We know waiting 1 full turn sometimes can be game ending, and more times than not, that wasn't the case, but I could have done a little better if I was able to play her sooner. So after playing in the tournaments and, you know, the Sapphire Cup, you know, I went 2-2 and just dropped out after 4th round, because I'm like, a 6-2 is not going to get me anywhere, plus this deck is nowhere near being able to win the next 4 turns, and then the ESL was just a train wreck. So after the ESL, I went back and I visited the deck. I'm like, okay, what is going to make this better? Well, first of all, get rid of the wild. So what I ended up coming up with is this. So what we have now, it's just Ruby Sapphire. It's nothing out of the ordinary there. And we have 11 and 11 for the shards. We have 4 burns, 4 arcane focuses, 4 Fizzer Smiths. Now this could be changed. This is here basically removal. It's all Fizzer Smith is for. It's not for, you know, to deal damage or anything like that. Sorry, I'm clicking there. Because if it's underground, you basically tunnel this thing and you're hoping your opponent's going to attack, and if they do, it's going to kill it. So it's all he's there for. Obviously Ancient Kings for some interruption, Buccaneers to bounce some stuff, Counter Magic for more interruption, Oracle Song, card draw, Jags the Blade Master. This is kind of a more win card. If you get him out and he sticks, and then you get Azura's Fate Sorceress out, or even Eldritch Dreamer, they're all going to be buffed off of Jags. But again, the main focus is, you know, Azura Fate Sorceress, now socketed with the Quick Gem. So you can play her on your opponent's end step, immediately gaining you access to her on your upkeep, or on your turn there. So now you don't need to keep up the amount of resources that I needed to do before. So now if I only had 4, I could drop her on my opponent's end turn. And then if I had a resource, or, you know, something other in hand, you know, I could either drop Eldritch Dreamer, or I could drop Droo's Colossal Walker for immediately hitting the opponent with 8. Or that's the theory now. I haven't played this one in a tournament. I've played it against some random matchmaking. And I did come up against the draw deck, the Winter Moon deck, with this particular deck, and it did fairly well. Master Theory Crafter could probably go into the sideboard and board in against that deck, because this here, when it comes into play, obviously it's going to do its damage. It's going to do its 4 damage. But the worker bots you create, they are going to mill, or bury. This is when the senders play, each opposing champion buries cards from their troops, top of their deck equal to this troop's combined attack and defense. So he does 4, and then all of the war bots after that, they do 6. So that draw deck, this is a pretty decent card for it. So this could probably be boarded out, or put it in the sideboard, and then, you know, bring something else in. Whether you want to bring in Reese or whatever, you know, another tunneling creature or something, I don't know, you could. So that's the main philosophy behind this one. And like I said, I looked through the deck lists of the Sapphire Cup, and a few people were running Droos, but they were not using the Colossal Walker in this particular manner. I think it has possibility, that 2-card combination there has possibility, potential. You know, we'll see what happens if anybody else picks up on it. You guys know about it now. Maybe you can use it and maybe run with it, maybe make some modifications to the deck to really make it stand out. I don't know, maybe it's a piece of junk altogether, I'm not sure. Oh, and Eldritch Dreamer has the card draw gem. That's pretty standard, I think, when you find him on Eldritch Dreamer, since he's unblockable. If you're running the Sapphire, Ruby, or anything, I mean, I guess if you're running green, you might put Spell Shield on him, so he's unblockable and you can't remove him. I don't know, but... So that is what I ended up with. I don't really have a sideboard for it yet. I do have Heat Wave, another Master Theory Crafter, some, you know, 2 more Counter Magics, and 2 more Verdicts of the Ancient Kings. The Heat Wave is basically for that, oh, what's the deck? The dude starts with a Q that has Rage and gives his power to another card. You know, those are all one health cards or 1 toughness cards. Just drop Heat Wave and you're going to wipe that deck out. That's not a huge problem there. Problem is, if you come up against it, you know, first match, that one's probably going to win until you can sideboard out. So after sideboarding, this deck would have no problems with that particular deck. But, you know, that's that. So you could probably, what else do we have in here? You could probably do, let's see here, you could probably, like I said, remove the Theory Crafters, put them in the sideboard, maybe take out 1 or 2 Fizzer Smiths, and maybe throw some Time Ripples in here, or put Time Ripples into the sideboard, just for some more control. Maybe throw, I don't like Rage Fire in this particular deck, that wouldn't work too well, it's too slow. You know, something along those lines, I guess. I can't really think of anything else right off the top of my head. Yeah, so I mean that's where I'm at right now. Maybe a couple more Droos. Maybe get rid of 2 Fissure Smiths and put a couple more Colossal Walkers in there. Drop the 2 Master Theory Crafters, put them into the sideboard, and put 2 Time Ripples in here, and maybe finish out the sideboard with a couple more Time Ripples. Something along those lines. So that is the idea. That is what I had there. Oh, and the champion is the Tetzot, son of Omok. Anyway, basically he for 6 charge powers, you reveal the, what is it, top 6 cards of your deck? Is that what it is? Just double check here. Reveal the top 10 cards of your deck. Create a rock elemental for each resource revealed that gets +1/+1. That card is a 6 casting cost card, obviously, so it's going to take direct effect with Azura Fate Sorceress. So if you drop her on turn, you know, your opponent's turn, and you have enough charge powers the next turn, it's immediately going to be able to deal that damage as well. So a lot of benefit there. If you have Jags out, it's going to deal double damage. So basically, you know, the dream hand would be have Jags out, have it stick, drop the Sorceress, and then on your next turn have that stick. On your next turn you drop Droos down. It's going to do 16 damage and have enough charge powers to be able to get this guy to do something. Even if he does, even if he only comes out as a 2/2, he's still gonna do double damage with Jags out there. So that is the idea. It is, you know, the dream hand is a stretch, but I think overall it has pretty good potential. So hopefully you like that deck. Hopefully it makes sense, and it may or may not. I don't know. That's just, you know, what I've come up with there. So hopefully I'm gonna try to run this one maybe in the next tournament. There are a few others that I'm working on. We'll see what comes out. We'll play test them all this week, and I think the ESL is again this Sunday, so we'll probably be in that one as well. So let me know your thoughts on the deck. Maybe let me know some changes or what you think, you know, is completely wrong with it, or if you think it's just completely irrelevant, this is never going to work, or whatever. Let me know in the comments down below. It doesn't matter to me. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more of these videos, be sure to click subscribe down below, and we'll have another video for you soon.